Yo, good morning. It's Guido coming at you with a Tactics Talk. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. I do appreciate your support. On this episode of World Tanks, you have yours truly. It is moi in my UDES 15/16. We're on Mannerheim line, and I have spawned into the southwest spawn. You can see that I am being very aggressive, pushing up here. This one is titled In Its Element. In Its Element. This is the Tier 10 UDES, the new medium tank, and I just did a review on the Tier 9, which I didn't like very much. And I'm calling this one In Its Element because this is an interesting case where the Tier 10 is much better at tier than the Tier 9. The Tier 9 is pretty bad, and most of what it tries to do, it does not do very well. But the Tier 10 actually can do some of those things. And what I'm talking about is the hold down piece, and as well as being a fairly decent, just plain old medium tank, which the other one fails at fairly miserably as well. So we come down here and take this lower area. Kind of unusual. This enemy team is on full camp mode, so they're going to be a bit permissive in what we can do to them here. And the point here is not that I have made some amazing play or that I will make further amazing plays, although of course I do, right? Validate me. Find the T95 up here and start shooting into his weak spots. But the point here is to show this hold down capability of this tank, where it just exposes a very little of itself to get these shots. And I can pretty comfortably duel a T95, which not many medium tanks can do. You're looking at two of the ones that can do it right here, myself and this 430 or 430U, depending on which one you've got. Any of the Soviet hover tanks with very good turrets. And then this thing, and that's pretty much it. That's going to want to really kind of face a T95 like this. Some of the stronger turret things, like maybe a British Centurion, could probably get away with this as well. You can see I can just expose a very little bit of my tank. I'm going to actually try to track him on this one. See if some of my buddies, I got a lot of friends looking if somebody can put some more damage on him. But he fixes it and moves out. Instead of exposing myself even more, I'm just going to go ahead and go for that weak spot there again. And unfortunately, I leave on 2 hit points, so I switch over to HE. This is a great example of one of those times when you would want to shoot HE from a relatively small caliber gun. I'll go right for the weak spot. Okay, so I'm going to actually aim for the weak spot again. It's very possible if I hit that superstructure flat on, I might not even do any damage. So I went for the weak spot so I could ensure I'd get those 2 hit points off that guy. And now we've got him stuffed back in the corner. This thing has actually pretty good pin for the APCR, which is the standard round. So it has an APCR standard round, has decent pin. Not amazing, but I'm a little bit higher than the ISM, so that allows me to flat plate that angled upper plate, even though that upper plate's very strong, and put a shot into him right here. He's angled, but not really enough, and we take him down pretty quickly. Now I'm looking at the mini-map. We're up here, we're starting to duel. I take a quick shot at the T28. RNG fails me, goes right in the ground. Low chance of pin anyway. Trying to go for that very small sliver of a lower plate, and I'm going to flex back here. So that you can see the tank has got decent mobility, about 50 kilometers an hour. That's the same as the Tier 9. But I will tell you that this one just feels more comfortable to drive. I don't know what it is about it. Maybe some of the stats on the terrain resistance and other things are a little bit better, just enough to make it feel more sprightly, even though the top speed is basically the same. And I'm able to flex back here. C-130 puts a shot on the Progetto, ends up dying for it. So I've prioritize the Progetto. I need to get rid of him first. I don't want to let him reload and start hammering on the U-100. But artillery dukes that guy. Dukes that guy? Nukes that guy. And now we will swing over and get rid of the UDES-16, who's really just abusing our poor U-100. Put a shot into him. I'll dive down so I don't get shot. I'm in trouble with my mouth today. We'll ram the UDES-16 so I don't get shit. Alright, so I don't get shot by the Kron and the T-32, and we're going to give you another example right here of the hold down capability of this tank. In its element, right, is what we talked about. Allow it to square up to you, come up on ramps like this, and only expose a very little of itself, and you're going to have a bad day against it. You get to its side, you outmaneuver it, you're probably going to have a pretty good day against it. So I'll just come up here and look for a shot into the front corner. The interesting thing about that is, as I come back, creep up over here and take another shot, he's angled enough that even though I'm shooting into the track right here, what's behind it is all the hole, right? So the shot's still going through. It's tracking him going through into the meat of the tank, I get a track and damage right there. I'm firing APCR and not heat. That way the tracks don't eat the shots. He actually either fixes it or has a good crew. That was probably a repair kit right there, because from now on, nope, I think that's fixed again. That's pretty quick. So one of those might have been a repair kit, or he's just got a good crew. Let's see how fast he fixes it this time. Does he get, yep, really good crew actually. Look at that. And I'm able to take him down. So I am just outside his repair cycle, which means that I'm reloading right after he fixes it and doesn't give him a lot of time to try to get hidden or away from me right there. And that's very important for the permatrack situations. Either you're on the inside of his repair cycle or just slightly outside, such that when it gets fixed, he can't really get away from it. Or you're simply shooting him before he repairs. I knew that the Centurion was over here holding, what, 2 tanks back? I don't really know what some of the people on my team were doing. It's a fairly easy win. We're at 14 and 8, 4,517. It didn't matter that I left the guys who continued to push their cap, because they actually got up, crawled up on there and beat the tar out of the 2 TDs or 2 tanks that were sitting there. Now I'll swing back, and really with all my hit points, even if I run into a fully reloaded Kron, I'm not too worried. I've got the 430 and the low following me, and he's probably looking at them more than likely. My assumption is he's on a reload, but we'll find him reloaded here when we get to him. I try to track him, doesn't quite work. There's that bounce. He's actually going to just plain old miss right there. So I'll just back off right here, except he's probably going to shoot me so that I can get a nice shot into that lower plate. And take down the Kron with 5 kills, 4,929. And just a great example, I think, of the UDES 15/16 Tier 10 Swedish medium tank being in its element, where you can get hull down like that in 2 great positions on this map, like I showed you there. It is really a beast, right? I dueled the T95, I dueled it, and it's a T32, whatever. But had I come up and over and exposed my lower plate, he'd have had not very much trouble penning me. And if I'd give him any kind of side shot, obviously, not much trouble penning me. But straight on, we really didn't even have a prayer. There are some weak spots up on top. I believe the hatches right there, potentially, if he was aiming at the right spot, he may have been able to plink a couple of those, but he didn't appear to have any kind of SA like that. And there you go, in its element, the UDES 15/16. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope you learned something. If you did and you're not a subscriber, I would appreciate the subscription. Otherwise, we will see you.